have quieted down on the waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you all for joining us today for the Exploring Careers in Business Operations workshop. Hopefully all of you are in the right place. My name is Larissa Bates. I am the Career Counselor for Business Financial Services and Logistics. And then I'll pass it over to Elaine to introduce herself next.
Hi everyone, my name is Elaine. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm one of the academic advisors in the Holland Student Success Center. So if you are currently a declared business student, thinking of switching, or even pursuing a business minor, I can help you out with that, as well as 6 other advisors on our team.
And then we have a special guest here with us today from the Operations Business Department. Teho, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
I'm Professor Teho Park, Director of Global, School of Global Innovation and Leadership. We have 3 concentration. This operation is one of them. So I'll be here, and then if you have any question, I will, answer your question.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So lots of folks here to support you with exploring careers in operations. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So just a couple of house rules, and do make sure to complete that Google form so that we're able to follow up with you after today's event. If you have any questions for myself, Elaine, or Teho, who's joining us as well, please put those in the chat and we will address those as soon as possible. We'll also have some Q&A time that's built in a little bit later in the presentation. So feel free to throw those in at any point and we'll address them as soon as we can get to them. And then our attendees, I do ask that your audio and video stays muted unless prompted otherwise. The Q&A time will be a time where we will allow you to come off mute and vocalize your questions if that's your preference. But for now, any questions or concerns, please put those in the chat. All right. So who are we? So I am from the Career Center. So some of the things that we offer and that we support students with are career counseling. So that could be one-on-one support, job internship search, resume, something that folks typically know that we help with, but we also help with mock interviewing, pretty much anything that you need to launch your career journey successfully, we're here to support you with. And when we do provide support with how to explore majors and how to explore careers. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And then in addition to that, we have other career applications, peer-to-peer resources, as well as workshops and events above and beyond what we're doing today. And then I'll pass it over to Elaine to talk a little bit about what Jack Holland does for students.
All right, so in conjunction with career counseling, you also have advising resources. So over in the Holland Student Success Center, you can come meet with us for academic advising. So that's where we can help you plan out your semesters, figure out graduation, change of major, and any other questions you might have, really. Even if you have questions about policies, forms, or petitions, we're here to help you out. We also offer free tutoring by some of your colleagues. So that's definitely something to look into. It is free. We also have peer leaders that you can get connected to. So current business students, just like you, if you have any questions or just want to get connected to your peers, learn the rules and ropes of how to succeed here. And we also have advising workshops and events.
So just to clarify, the reason why we're going over this is just so that you understand kind of like the division of resources. So you can connect with me or any of the other career counselors at the Career Center for help with exploring different careers, exploring, all the resources that you need to be successful in launching that career. And then you want to connect with Elaine over in College of Business or your Success Center for your college for actual like course planning, graduation planning, academic success. All right. With that, I'll let Elaine talk about how you can get connected with your resources over there.
Yeah, so over at the Holland Student Success Center, we're all remote, but we're definitely still here, still busy, and ready to help you all out. So we do pride ourselves on being like a one-stop shop, which means that Almost any question you have, we can essentially answer it for you, or we can point you in the right direction to get those answers. If you go to our website, the link is here on the slide, which you'll receive if you filled out the Google form. You can access us. If you forget the link also, you can even do a Google search and type in our acronym, JHSSC, SJSU, and we will be the first hit. So on our website, if you can see in this visual here, the arrow is pointing to the different buttons that will take you to the different services we have. So as mentioned earlier, academic advising, change of major information, getting connected to peer leaders, attending workshops such as this one, and also accessing tutoring. And if you are trying to get connected to Larissa as well, we even have a button here for career resources. So if you're ever lost in this virtual realm, come to our website and explore around. Most likely you'll be able to find where you're trying to go for your questions.
All right, and a little bit about the Career Center. As I mentioned earlier, I am your main support as the business counselor if you have questions in that area, but we do have a full team that services all the career areas that you can imagine. The way to connect with us is actually through Spartan Connect, which is the same platform that you use to meet with your academic advisors, such as Elaine over in Jack Holland, except you're just going to select career instead of academic support for the appointment type. And then if none of these days and times that I'm available work for you, I do schedule appointments outside of this. So if there's maybe questions that are unique to your experience or journey that you maybe don't feel comfortable asking in front of the group here, you can always reach out to either Elaine or myself for one-on-ones. All right, so the best way to connect with the Career Center is actually through our website. So I would encourage you all, if you haven't, go ahead and bookmark SJSU Career Center. You'll find a lot of our resources are online, available to you 24/7. And we do service these 3 core areas of exploring, building experience, and then launching your career journey successfully. All right, so that was just an introduction of Elaine and I, who we are, services that we offer in our departments. So we've already done the first agenda items. We're going to talk a little bit about concentration versus major and do an overview of the business degrees. We'll talk about some operations, careers, and how to explore the different options in that area. We'll have some time for Q&A, and then we'll go through some final resources that might be helpful for you as you go forward. And as a reminder, if you have any questions, both Elaine, myself, and Tejo from the Global Operations Department will be monitoring chat, so we'll answer questions as we can. All right, so what is a business administration degree? So for those of you who are studying business, you've probably seen this before, maybe on your My SJSU, but your degree is actually a business administration degree. And then you might select a concentration within business. So for example, operations is one, you might select marketing, but I do want to just remind you that regardless of what concentration you select, you are getting a foundation in different areas of business. So even our accounting concentrations, they still take a marketing class, they still take a finance class, they take maybe an HR class, right? Because they're required to do those core courses in business administration. So for most of the concentrations, only about 22 to 15% of your degree coursework is going to be in that concentration area. So I saw a question earlier about being able to maybe have multiple options in different areas of business. That is absolutely why your degree is designed the way that it is, to give you flexibility. So if you study one area and you decide that maybe you want to explore some other business skills, that is absolutely a possibility. All right, and then Elaine, if you want to talk a little bit about how students can review concentrations.
Sure, yeah, I'll try turning on my video again because the internet is a bit unstable. And turning off the video helps. So
yeah, absolutely.
Apologies if you see me disappear. So when it comes to thinking about a concentration, let's say maybe you're in your first year or second year and you still have a ways to go, right? And you're like, I'm declared in this concentration, but I think I want to switch. One of the strategies you can use to figure this out is to first look at the literature. So look at our advising guides to compare different coursework, because like Larissa was mentioning, no matter what your concentration, all of our business administration degrees have the same foundation. Your general education requirements are going to be the same. Lower division business requirements are the same, and your upper division business core classes are the same. So about like 22% of your coursework is going to be different with your concentration. Let's say maybe you're in upper division already. Let's say maybe you're a junior, you already started taking courses in a concentration, but you're thinking of something different. Something you want to keep in mind is that only a few concentrations that belong to the same department will have similar course requirements that carry over. So for example, let's say you are an accounting student right now, you're in the accounting concentration and you've already taken courses towards that, but maybe you're thinking operations. Keep in mind that your accounting courses, the upper divs, they're not going to carry over to operations. So that's just something to keep in mind. When picking out your concentration, it's important to really think about what are you truly interested in, what are you strong in, or where can you really grow and you feel confident in, and what are your long-term goals. After you've considered all these different points, I would say go to our change of major webpage to learn about the eligibility requirements and the different processes needed. And then you can come to drop-in advising to speak with an advisor like myself for an initial consultation. This is a great topic to bring up too, right? Because maybe some students, you're towards the tail end and maybe you're not within business. Maybe you're very close to getting a degree in something outside of business. Well, on the next slide, we're going to talk about the business minor. So let's say, you're very interested in pursuing something in business, but you're also really loving what you're studying. We have a lot of social science students. So for example, psychology, sociology, maybe even anthropology. They're interested in leveraging their skills in the behavioral sciences in the business industry. Well, you can consider the business minor. With that, you need a total of 15 extra units or 5 classes. Here are the requirements. Business 1 20N, which is survey of accounting. That'll give you some of those accounting skills and knowledge. And this class, don't be too afraid of it. This one is specific for business minors. So it's not quite as rigorous as what business students take. The next class that all business minors must take is Business 3160, Fundamentals of Management and Organizational Behavior. So this will really give you that background knowledge on how to manage an organization. And then beyond that, there's 3 more courses to take, and this can be up to your own choosing. So 1 more lower division business course. For some students, some of your degrees require that you take statistics. So let's say if you choose to take Business 290, business statistics, that can count for the minor and for the major. Next up, you need 1 more upper division business course. And if you're interested in operations specifically, this is where you can be strategic. I've recommended here some courses specifically from operations. So Business 5140, which is basically the introductory operations course, Business 5142, 144, and 145. So these courses, you can even type them in a Google search, right? And find out more of the descriptions. Some of them touch upon supply chain management. All of these are related to global operations management. So definitely recommend that you take a look at these. And if you're really thinking business minor and really interested in operations, come talk to me during drop-in or even in an appointment, and I can help you set up a plan. That way you can maximize the minor. And something to note with Jack Holland is that there's no paperwork needed for the minor form. We want to make it as streamlined as possible for you all. So you can visit the link on the slide to learn how to declare the minor, number 1, and then how to actually earn it on your diploma. And once you've gotten that background information, come talk to an advisor and we'll help you out. All right, now for some of you also, if you are not declared in business, or maybe you are, and you're looking to leverage your experiences and maximize your opportunities here and after, I definitely recommend that you take a look at our student organizations in the College of Business. We have many different organizations, but the ones that are listed here are specifically encouraged if you're interested in a career in operations. So we have GOMA, Global Operations Management Association, very highly recommended if you're interested in pursuing that kind of career. And we also have the Ideas organization too. Ideas Lab is essentially for students who are entrepreneurship focused. So if you're interested in collaborating with students from different departments, even for example, engineering students, this is where students come together from different disciplines to create a startup. That could be definitely something very valuable to your experience and something you can leverage within your career as well. And then of course, we also have fraternities that are specific to business that are listed here. So I highly encourage that you join a student org, whether or not you're declared in business, but especially if you're not. That way you can start building your network, because some of the colleagues that you meet here, they might become your future colleagues in the workforce. Or if not, they'll become valuable lifelong connections, right? These are the people that you can lean on for support, but they'll also share information about where they're at in their career, share insights, share if there are openings in the companies that they're working at. So highly recommend.
All right, so now that we've given a little bit of background information on, business degrees, and then also kind of some of the flexibility and benefits there, we're going to talk about some specific, roles and operations and how to kind of do your exploring. So the good news is that we do know that this is going to be a field that there's going to be opportunities that are growing in the future. So management analysts, you're kind of looking at the different structures within the business and making recommendations. We don't know that those jobs are projected to grow. Logistician, business operations specialist, also a growing area. And then even for the purchasing buyers, even though there's going to be less jobs, we do know that there are folks that are leaving out of that field, that are retirement, that are older. So there's still going to be new jobs opening in that area, which is more of an entry-level area within the next couple of years. So lots of opportunities if you're thinking about getting into some of the different areas and operations. So this is one of the times that I want you all to participate. What are some of the careers and operations that you have heard of? So if you feel more comfortable unmuting yourself, you can do that at this point, or you can throw your thoughts and ideas in the chat. I'm just curious to know, maybe beyond the three that I've just listed, what are some of the things that you all are already familiar with?
Product management.
What was that?
Product management.
Product management, okay. Project operations.
I want to add a supply chain manager.
Definitely. All right, so feel free to unmute yourself or throw your ideas in the chat. Manager, definitely. All right, so seeing a lot of different things coming through. So product manager, right? That could be all different types of organizations. So a really great example is for Apple, like their iPhones. There's someone who's responsible for that product and making sure that they're communicating with the manufacturing team, the developers who are working on building it, all the way to the marketing and sales team to make sure that is positioned correctly in the market. So absolutely lots of opportunities there. If you like working with folks from different backgrounds, different departments. I do see a lot of project roles as well. So definitely kind of in that space of collaborating with the business with different departments. Supply chain is definitely more of the manufacturing processes typically. So making sure That, for example, if you were the person that was manufacturing the iPhones, that you have all of the different components that you need to make it coming in at around the same time so that you're able to produce your final product. I see some new things in the chat. So hotel
Also,
operations.
Can you add a quality manager?
Yes, so quality manager. So also that ties into manufacturing typically, right? Whenever you're making something, you want to make sure that whatever good you're producing and selling is meeting kind of a minimum standard before you send that out. A good example is
it's not just the manufacturing, the retailer also. The retail business, they have to handle supply chain management, logistics, quality, procurement, all those.
Yeah, definitely. So anything where you're producing products, right, it could definitely apply to. Absolutely. All right, so that just kind of gives me some ideas of some of the things that you all are thinking of. As I mentioned earlier, the slide deck will be shared with you. So if you want to kind of do a deeper dive into any of these that maybe you haven't heard of or you'd like to know more about, you can do that after today. All right, so what are some of the past and operations? So this data is coming from LinkedIn, and I'll show you how to access that. If you have a LinkedIn account, it's free and available to any and everyone. But these are some of the top areas that students that have graduated from San Jose State are pursuing. So as you can see, there is some overlap with different areas. So not only are they in operations, but there's also folks that go into more of the business development, which can be the sales and analytics side of business. And then we also see folks that are kind of more on the engineering, kind of product management development side. So these are some sample roles. This is definitely not everything that you can pursue with a like operations degree or, you know, as an operations career, but just some ideas to get you guys thinking. So I think we did talk a lot about like the project management pieces, but definitely project analyst roles. So making sure that you are staying on track for that project, providing any data, information that is needed in order to make it successful. Buyer, purchaser, these are typically more in manufacturing, but it could also be in any area where they're producing goods. Making sure if you are building a product, right, you have to be able to purchase all the parts that are needed in order to create that final good. So there's folks that work on that, communicating with vendors to make sure that they are buying not too much, not enough, so that they're able to keep their manufacturing lines going. We also have planners, logistics, supply chain analysts, people that work in the space of making sure that we are on track for manufacturing and shipping, and that goods are reaching the places that they need to go in the right time frame. Some other ones, I'm not going to go through all of these, but just to give you some ideas. Inventory control. If you think about, you know, those retail businesses or anywhere like Amazon, where they have large amounts of, you know, items that they are managing, there's usually someone who's building a system or maintaining a system that is tracking all of those goods, making sure that they know how many things are still on the shelf, if they need to send things to their buyer or purchaser to replenish. So that would be inventory control, or sometimes also materials managers do something similar. So just to give you all some ideas, these are all things that you can explore deeper if you are interested in any particular area. LinkedIn is just a great place to kind of start to get some information. And then some of the companies that I saw come up were like Tesla, which makes sense. They do a lot of manufacturing. Facebook, they have a lot of different product lines that they are producing, both software side, Fortinet, Cisco, SAP. So lots of different companies also recruit from this area. So what does this look like? So we're going to do a real life dive into LinkedIn. So let me just switch over to a live view. go. All right, so for those of you who don't have LinkedIn, this is just helpful to kind of know what information is on here. I'll also show you a place where you can find information if you don't want to build a LinkedIn profile where you can get some more general information. So on here, I'm just going to search for our university. So San Jose State, if I can spell correctly today. There we go. All right, and then on this page, I can see information about our university, but I can also see alumni. So what this does is anyone that puts on their profile that they attended San Jose State at some point in their journey gets connected to this data set. So now I can see in general where folks live, where they work, what they do, what they studied, what skills they have. And there's a couple different ways that I can search. So all of these add buttons, I can add filters to those specific areas. So for this one, I can search for a specific degree area, or I can search by title, keyword, or if there's a specific company that I'm looking for, I can use that in the search bar here. So what I usually do is I do encourage you to change the start and end time, because you probably want folks that for the most part have completed their studies and are out in the world at this point, but you don't want to go too far back where their experience is going to be significantly different from where you are at this point. So I usually go back around, 5 to 10 years, somewhere within that time frame. And then I can add additional filters. So I might want to see for people that studied operations. Now it'll filter just for those folks that have that on their area study. I can see where they work. I can see what they do, what skills they have. And then if I scroll down, I can start to see profiles. Now this doesn't work like 100% accurately. Like you can see this person is MIS, but it works well enough where it can get you some foundational information. So for example, if this person is in people operations, if I was interested in learning more about that, I can click on their profile. And some people actually put like their full kind of process, like where they started to where they are now. So I can maybe see what were some of the internships, what were some of the entry-level positions that she was able to obtain, and how she was able to get to where she is now. And some people will actually include details on their role, like what they accomplish in it, what they do in their day-to-day. So that is sometimes helpful to kind of look at as well. So this is like really powerful to kind of see what are some of the pathways, what are some of the potential outcomes from your degree, and to really kind of explore. Again, it doesn't work 100% accurately, but I think it is helpful to kind of see, buyer, planner is probably some good entry-level positions to explore if you want to become a supply chain analyst. And you can see the pathways of folks who have already accomplished that. If you don't have LinkedIn, that's perfectly okay. On the Career Center website, we do have under our About page, Career Success Outcomes, Initial Career Success. So here you can see some data about our students as well. This is coming from a survey. When students graduate, we send out a form to them and we ask them, did you land a position? If so, where? How much money are you making? What is your job title? So you can see those reports here. Now, this is not going to have every student because that survey is optional. So if the student doesn't give us information, then unfortunately we can't report on that. So this is not 100% accurate, but it is accurate enough to kind of get you some of those initial answers to your questions as well. So for this, I can see for business students, right, how many of them are pursuing internships, how many of them answered that they were employed post-graduation. And then if I scroll down, I can actually see the reports by specific majors and concentrations. So I might want to look at operations, see how many people responded, where they're going post-graduation. So for the other ones, right, I can see what employers, I can see some sample job titles. starting salary, lots of information here as well as to where folks are going with their degree. And then one last place is under resources, SJSU Squared. This is our mentoring and meetups platform. So if you're thinking at this point, I don't know anyone in operations, I don't know anyone who's a buyer or planner who works in supply chain, you might want to look on this platform as we do outreach to SJSU alumni and ask them if they're willing to volunteer their time to help students with careers in their field and industry. So this might be a great place for you to also explore. If you don't know anyone in your field, you can get on here, look through our database and maybe connect with someone who's had some experience in supply chain or people operations or whatever area you're interested in. So supply chain, for example, I can see some different folks. I'm interested, I can click on their profile, see a little bit about who they are, what they did, how they got to where they were. And if I'm interested in connecting with them, I can actually do that through this platform. So lots of resources to help you not only explore the careers, but also get connected to folks that can give you advice, as well as like how to maybe break into their field. All right, so I'm going to switch back over to the slide deck at this point. So I can share another thing with you all, and that is professional associations. So this is just one example for supply chain management, if that's an area of interest. They actually have a case competition for students. So that's something that you can maybe explore if you wanted to get more exposure or know what's going on in the field or industry. I highly encourage you to look at the national or professional associations for that industry. A lot of times they'll have webinars, events, they'll have resources talking about what are the hot topics in that field, what are some of the things that they're worried about, so that you know what skills you need to be working on in order to break into that field successfully. And you can also sometimes meet contacts and other people that are also willing to support you with your career journey from being involved in some of these professional associations outside of campus as well. All right, so I'm going to skip the Handshake demo for now because I do want to make sure that we have time for Q&A. So let me just pause there so we can keep an eye on the chat. And then also, if you have questions that maybe we haven't answered at this point, feel free to unmute yourself. All right, so if you have questions, throw them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. All right, so while we're waiting for questions to come through, I'm just going to switch back over and show you all how to access Handshake. And don't feel bad interrupting me if you do have a question. So on our SJSU Career Center website, if you go under resources and you select Handshake, this is our campus job internship database. So how this works is Handshake is a nationwide database. So if you're not local to San Jose, you can still find opportunities on here. But for the employers, when they sign up for Handshake, they have to select what universities they want their positions to be visible to. So you can be sure that if there are jobs or internships that are posted on here, that that employer has already said that they're looking for a Spartan. So we talked about supply chain, quality, also buyer, purchaser, planner. Those are maybe some potential areas that you want to look for internships in. I'm just going to do quality assurance, for example. Right, and now I can see all of the opportunities that align with that area. One thing I do want to highlight is that you can save searches. So even if you're thinking like, I'm not quite ready for an internship yet, I would encourage you to start building some keyword searches And that way, as opportunities get posted, you'll get pinged to your email about what those opportunities are. And that way you can make sure that you're building the right type of skills and knowledge from your coursework to get prepared for those journeys. And then let me just see, I think I saw a question coming through the chat. If we're completing an MBA, can we still use some of the courses we have taken or taking and sign up for a minor in business operations? So that I'm not 100% sure with. I don't think typically for the graduate programs that you're able to do minors. Typically that's just for your undergrad degree. But I would connect with your academic advisor for your MBA program and ask them if maybe you can swap out some of your courses and do something that's more like supply chain management or operations if that's your area of interest.
Yeah, that's good advice. In terms of getting like a business minor at San Jose State, we only offer one minor. So it's just business minor. We don't have minors in the concentration. So that's number one thing to know. And number two, if you're a graduate student, you wouldn't be able to go back and get a minor because like Larissa said, it's for undergraduate degrees, unfortunately. But I definitely second Larissa's advice, which is meeting with your MBA advisor and seeing if they have courses related to operations that you could take. Or if there aren't any other options, you could consider signing up for some of the key operations courses through the undergraduate program using open enrollment. So those are a couple options to consider.
Yeah, great. And note there on the open enrollment program to maybe explore that to see if there's a way that you can get a add code to one of those courses if you would like. All right, so I didn't see any other questions come through. So just want to
there is another question.
Oh.
Yeah, that I think would be best for you, Larissa. Michael asks, hi, do you help at Career Center with building resumes and making sure that automated systems do not throw it before it lands on the recruiter's desk?
Awesome, great question. So yes, absolutely, we do help you understand. They're called applicant tracking systems. So we do help you understand how those work and how recruiters are able to use those to kind of screen candidates. So if you need support with that, I would encourage you to reach out to me. As I mentioned in the slide deck earlier, I do offer appointments, so one-on-one sessions. So you can either schedule through Spartan Connect or you can email me directly. But yes, that's definitely something that we make sure that students are getting to the top of the pile rather than, at the very bottom. What I was going to show real quick is like 2 of our series. So if there are employers that you would like to get connected with, it is really important that you do also attend like their events, follow them on LinkedIn. I hear a lot of times students say that they want to work for a large company. These companies that are mid to large size, a lot of them track the different types of engagement that you have with them. So they can see if you've been on their website, if you follow them on LinkedIn, all of those things. So I'd encourage you to check out our Insights series and see if there's any players that are coming. I do know Morgan Stanley might be of interest, as well as LinkedIn. So do check those out. And then also our information sessions is another series that might be of interest if you need to build some more employer connections. Any of these, you can kind of click on them and see, exactly what that employer is recruiting for, and then determine if that's something that you would like to attend or not.